When I'm working with home buyers, one of the most exciting things that happens during that period is when they find the home they love and I start hearing them make the plans for what they're going to do to make it their own. Some of the upgrades, some of the renovations, some of the things they're going to do to make it their little piece of heaven. It's so exciting to hear those plans, but I find that in year, 2 years later, there are many things that I'm hearing they've regretted having done. I want to share those with you. Things that people regret having done once they moved into their new home here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. And let's see if it's something that maybe you regretted in your own home, wherever that may be. Hey, I'm Susan Thetford. I'm a realtor here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. I'm also a retired general contractor. So when I'm hearing some of these things that people talk about, I have actually a little bit more knowledge than just what's going to be at the end, but it's a knowledge of what the construction problems or the things that may be a problem while they're doing it that they may not have thought of. But these are going to be some of the regrets that people have had after having done some of those things to their homes, specifically here to the Nashville area, and it may well be very different from where you're coming from. So here's the deal. If you're thinking of moving to the Nashville, Tennessee area, then I suspect that you're doing your research. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. We talk about all things here about buying, selling homes, investing in homes in the Nashville, Tennessee area, neighborhoods, what it's like to live here, the good, bad, and the ugly, and you're going to hear it all right here. So go ahead and subscribe. But today we're going to talk about 13 mistakes that I'm finding my personal customers have found to be a mistake in some of the upgrades they've made in their new homes. Okay, so let's get into it. The 13 things that I have found over the last couple of years that they have regretted making in their homes once they've bought their new home here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. Now again, this isn't to say you do you. If money is no object, if it really doesn't matter whether you get a return on that investment, if you want it to be just your home and it doesn't matter, it's your forever ever place, great, you do you. But I want to share with you what I'm hearing and you be the judge. Number one, let's get into it. Looking at outdoors. One of the first regrets I hear people making is they wish they hadn't spent so much money, or at all, built those beautiful big outdoor kitchens. Now, they're glorious, they're glamorous, you know what I mean? I think it began with HGTV and then COVID. Everybody was kind of snugging into their own homes and they wanted to have everything like a vacation spot right there in their own backyard. So they built these beautiful kitchens, maybe had the pizza oven, the big kitchen, the outdoor refrigerator, the big screen TVs, all the beautiful things. What they're finding is, one, it was very expensive. They had no idea how expensive it was. Flat work, any kind of stone work, all that kind of thing is really expensive. Two, they just don't use it that much. Now, we do have 4 good seasons, and truly, you can use those outdoor kitchens probably at least 2.5 to 3 seasons of those 4. But still, you know, people are people, and unless you are the one who wants to entertain all the time in your backyard with lots of other outside of your family people are just finding they're just not using it that much. So yes, it was a draw when they bought the home. Or yes, they wished that it had it and they spent the money for it. But would they do it again? Everyone has told me no, they really wouldn't. And when it comes time to reselling it, it's going to make the home sell faster as a bell and whistle, but it certainly isn't going to make it sell for more. Something to consider. Number 2, and I'm really going to get some flack for this one, but I think if you talk to anyone who is a realtor here in the Nashville area, they're going to give you the same answer. Swimming pools. And I mean the below ground swimming pools. The above ground pools, just don't do it, please. Just don't do it. But even the in-ground pools, whether it's a liner pool or a gunite pool, what we're finding is, although we do have good seasons, that you can use at least two full seasons of the Nashville year, especially if you have it heated. People are just, the expense of putting in the pool is far more expensive here in the Nashville, Tennessee area than, say, what I'm hearing down in Florida or out in California. It's far more expensive here because you don't realize how much rock you might hit in building or blasting out for that pool. But the expense, and because every home here doesn't have a swimming pool, there's not a whole lot of companies who do a good job with building swimming pools, so there's not that much competition. There's a lot of reasons for the fact that building a pool here in the Nashville, Tennessee area is really expensive. And 2, I've got this experience from growing up, and that was a long time ago. We loved the pool. We used the pool a lot for the first season. And then the older we got as teens, unless everybody was at our house for a party, we wanted to be where the action was, and that was typically at somebody else's swim club or somewhere else. So those pools get used less and less. Now, the expense of the pools and the expense of running it, if you don't maintain it yourself, if you open and close it at the beginning and the end of the season, if you don't clean it yourself constantly, buying all the chemicals, and now the insurance costs. Much more expensive if your home has a pool, and you will have to put in a fence around the pool in the entire circumference. There's a lot that goes into it, and it could easily take a full year to actually get it done. I'm really finding that people say, that was an expense that I wish I hadn't done. It's beautiful yard art, especially if you really spend a lot of money in getting the outside of that pool looking beautiful with some good stonework and some good coping and the lands. You get it. There's so much to do. It's beautiful yard art. It's gorgeous in pictures. But am I finding everybody wants one? Absolutely not. When I'm showing homes, I would say the majority of the people looking at homes, 90%, do not want a swimming pool. They don't want the maintenance. Also, so many areas now are having their own community pool, their own community neighborhoods pools. Why do you want to spend the money for that neighborhood pool and have one in your own backyard? It's something that everybody wants in California, I hear. Everybody wants in Texas, I hear. Everybody wants in Florida, I hear. Nashville, Tennessee, not so much. Not so much. Okay, so staying outside, let's talk about another big expense that many people regret. Those huge, beautiful wooden play sets. Those big play sets with the tunnel slide and the climbing walls and the swing sets and all the things. Lots and lots of very fun things to do, and the children absolutely love it for the first couple weeks. And then it does slow down, and it's super expensive to put in. You have to really do, especially if you're doing the special flooring underneath it. And with the size of lots these days, often those really glorious play sets that people are wanting to put in cost anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000 or more. They're taking up a lot of space in that. And if your home buyers next who come along really don't have little bitty children to play on those play sets, first thing they're going to want to do is have you take it out, which is an expense to put it in, an expense to take it out, or they are discounting the value of your home because they've got the expense and time and effort to take it out. Again, back to this. Most communities do have good play areas. Most children want to go where other children are to play. So unless you want your home to always be overrun with kids to play with, you might want to rethink and not regret putting in one of those giant, grandiose play sets. This brings me to something that I've put together, which is my Prep for Profit Seller's Guide. Now, whether you're wanting to sell in a year or 6 years from now, whether you've just bought your new home and you want to kind of see the things that will give you a good return on your home, this Prep for Profit guide will really, really help you. There's a great listing of things you can do that, one, is very inexpensive to do, but it's going to give you big returns for your money. Some things worth doing, some things not worth doing, and it gives you the ins and outs of exactly what that means and the reasoning behind it. I also give you a great idea of colors to put into your home if you've got in mind reselling. So, you can make it your own without making it totally green one room, purple one room, orange another room. Just know if you do that, you're going to be having to repaint it, or you're going to lose a lot of money on resale. This Prep for Profit guide, whenever it is that you decide to sell, how far off in the future really doesn't matter. These are golden rules that I think would be very helpful to you or anyone thinking of selling. Go ahead, you can grab that one right here. Let's talk about a fourth idea, and this is still kind of outside, kind of not. In older neighborhoods here in the Nashville, Tennessee area, where people really want lots of yard space, but maybe the house needs a lot of updating, renovating, or it's really short on space. In the 70s and 80s, a 1,700, 1,800 square foot home was not unusual, and that was kind of the norm until you got to a different kind of stratosphere of pricing of homes. So with that typically came a smaller home. It would have been a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe, if you were lucky, which typically did not have what we want today's standards, a primary bedroom. What I'm finding many people think they can do is convert that 2-car garage into the primary bedroom. Think about it. A 2-car garage, approximately 20 by 20 feet. Often though, you have the water heater is in the garage. Sometimes even the laundry room was in that garage space in some of the older homes. 20 by 20 sounds like it's a lot of space to put in a good primary bedroom now and a primary bathroom. But think about the bedroom, the bathroom, the closets, removing that water heater to elsewhere. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of ingenuity to make the flow work really well with the rest of the house, to not always feel like it's an appendage. So maybe that garage would be a really good family room, a secondary family room. It might be a really good playroom for the children, off the kitchen, easy access, and to enclose to make a nicer laundry room. But it really takes some thoughtful design plans to make it work well when you're converting that two-car garage. Now, is it good space? And if it has a smaller home and you make it that much more functional for the next buyer, absolutely. People here want that. But it can be pretty tricky, and unless it flows pretty seamlessly with the rest of the house, you might regret having done it. If you need someone to help you design and see how that might work on paper before you spend your hard-earned money and time and effort and energy and months of living through chaos while that kind of thing's going on, I've got the right people for you. That's one of the things that having a good realtor can do for you, having those contacts that can help you stay out of the weeds when you're getting into doing some updates and renovations. But the conversion of a garage or the conversion of attic space often is something that people regret in the end because it just didn't turn out in reality the way they envisioned it. Okay, let's come inside now and talk about some of the things that people have done that they have regretted after having done it when they moved to the Nashville, Tennessee area. Maybe in your area. I want to know, I want to hear. Have you done any of these things yourself in your homes and you wish you hadn't, or didn't do it and wish you had? I'd love to hear in the comments. Number 5, let's go to those grand and glorious and huge and cavernous primary bathrooms. We see it. They're beautiful. They look great on Instagram. They are luxurious and it feels like a spa. But if I've heard it once, I've heard it 15 times in the last month. There's so much floor space here that's wasted and it's cold. And yeah, but that giant clawfoot tub that's maybe pushed back into the window area or the bay window, you can't get to it to clean. And those tubs are huge. It takes so much water to fill it. And it's hard to clean. It's hard to get back into the nooks and crannies. And if it takes so long, it doesn't stay hot. The water doesn't stay hot. So these things that look beautiful on Instagram are not, they don't work that well. They don't live day to day the way you envision it with a glass of wine and the candles and all that luxurious. No, ends up happening is you put your children in it and they bathe and there's lots of bubble bath and they have a great time and you get them out of there and you've got to clean it all up and it's just, they're expensive, they cost a fortune. The reinforcement of your floors has to be tremendous by the time you put all that water into it. Everyone I know who's put one of those giant tubs in has regretted it and said it gets used maybe 4 or 5 times a year and that's it. Instead, they wished they had enlarged their shower somewhat. Now, they don't want the nest necessarily his and hers, 2 heads in that shower. That's a little funky too. They haven't wanted that. So just, you know, what you see on Instagram, go to a hotel if you want that kind of thing for that kind of luxury for a weekend, but don't spend thousands and thousands of dollars. You probably won't be using it very often and your buyers will really, they're not going to pay you more for it. They just aren't. Most homeowners in Nashville do regret spending a fortune on all this luxurious, big, glamorous primary bathrooms. Now, if the entire house is big and luxurious and glorious and spa-like, do it. Because it would be odd to have then just a little funky one. But again, it's the overall feeling of the entire house so that no one thing feels like it's wagging the rest of the house. That made sense to me. Wonder if that made sense to you. Oh, and one more thing about those tubs. Please stop putting in the jetted bathtubs. Those 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s jetted bathtubs, nobody wants. People are spending a lot of money to get rid of those things. Don't have any steps going up into your bathtub. If you have to do that, then find another plan and work with somebody else and call me and I can give you other people to work with. Do not put steps into your bathtub. Nobody wants that. It is a safety hazard. But those jetted tubs, nobody wants either. You have to use them consistently or else you're going to get these little black specks because it dries in the water, in the jets, in the system. Do not do it. People are spending good money to take those things out. Number 6 regret that I'm constantly hearing about is buying those high-end appliances. Now, I get it. You want to have your appliances match. And if they're older appliances when you move in, then you want to have the same finish. If it's all stainless and your dishwasher is the black face, you might want that dishwasher to be stainless. But you don't need to buy the refrigerator that, oh, I don't know, has all the readouts and you can see into the refrigerator to see what's in there without opening it to see what's in there. To spend huge amounts of money on all these very, very high-end appliances, just not worth your money. And the more that bells and whistles that are on those appliances, the more likely it's going to fall apart. I know people with 30-year-old Thermador refrigerators, and I know people with 3-year-old Thermador refrigerators. They've had to buy another one. The more bells and whistles you have, faster you're going to have to buy a new one. Oh, and something to know, if you're moving from somewhere else to Nashville, often the refrigerator on a home goes with the sellers. The sellers can take their refrigerator with them, unless it's a built-in. They also typically take their washer and dryers. So that's just something to know. When you're selling your home elsewhere and you're thinking, oh, well, Nashville, I'm going to get all the appliances I need for my kitchen. I can leave this one here. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. We need to talk about that. Each house is different. Save your money on all those high-end appliances. Buy energy efficient. Buy the appliances that you need for your own personal cooking needs and leave all that extra money on the table for some of the other things that you will want to do for your new home. Number 7, home theaters. A room specially for the home theater. I will tell you, it's beautiful and exciting to look at. It's a really cool to have thing, but is it a must-have? Is it something that most people really, really need or want, or even find that they use very often? Everyone I've heard who has had a home theater has said, you know, people don't want to be that separated. You kind of still want to be as a family together, especially during COVID. Many people thought they needed that home kitchen outside and they also needed the home theater and, you know, vision, having popcorn and the whole family sitting there together upstairs in that room that's off and it's a home theater. It just doesn't work that way. You know, it just doesn't work that way. We're busy, busy people. Those home theaters just typically certainly don't pay off. I've had 3 families move to the area with a home theater, is the house that they bought. And in our offer, it was in mind that they were going to have to spend money to take out that theater. They didn't want the acoustical tiles. They didn't want the decor that went with it, which was very, very dark and heavy. Which is great and moody for a theater. It's not what people want in their home. And their offers were being made subject to them thinking about how much money they were going to have to spend, time, effort, and energy to get rid of that home theater. So if you're thinking of a home theater as something that's going to help you on your resale value, no. Is it something that you really, really want, you enjoy as a family, then you do it. You do you. But I've found most people do regret putting in that specialty home theater. And speaking of specialty rooms, any kind of specialty room, you know, a specialty gift wrapping room that has everything perfect, Pinterest kind of look. You've seen those rooms where everything has built-in cabinetry for specialty ribbons and specialty sewing equipment, all that kind of stuff. High-end rooms, high-end cabinetry, high-end finishes for that room. Unless your buyer is as proficient and is that person who has to have the gift wrapping room, or that person who really is an expert seamstress and wants that specialized place. Again, people are thinking, how can I use this? Is kind of wasted space. It's wasted money. How can I make this room my own and then spend the money to take out what you spent your hard-earned money put in? Do what you can do without having to spend a lot of money on specialty cabinetry or you know, the special flooring that you did if you have very expensive home gym workout equipment. If your buyer doesn't want a home gym, but they really do need that 5th bedroom and they can't buy your house because you spent a fortune on that home gym, again, try to retrofit an existing room to meet your needs, but that easily could be taken down or out when you move to put it back to what most buyers are going to want. Specialty rooms have often been a regret that many home buyers come sellers wish they hadn't done. Number 9, specialty high-tech smart home upgrades. You may be brilliant. You may need everything smart home and techie, and you may be the type who can control your entire home from your phone. Most people can't. Maybe that's just me. I don't even care to. Most people don't care to. Look, the smart home security system, the Nest thermostats, the remote control for blinds, for window treatments maybe, especially if it's 2-story window treatments. You really need that. The remote controls for the ceiling fan. But there's 3 things about that. How many of you lose the remote control for your own TV repeatedly? Now, what are you going to do when you need a remote control for pretty much everything in your house? It's disaster waiting to happen if you're in my house. And most people don't really want to have their phone with them at all times to connect and do things with their phone. Look, the high-tech technology may be something wonderful for you, but these smart home technologies is not something that most people want. So again, when you're back to thinking what my value is for what I'm going to get back out of it, smart home technology beyond a certain point is lost on most home buyers, and they actually don't want to pay you for something they don't want. Think about it. What do you need for your comfort and your day-to-day love of your home? But don't go overboard. Number 10, kind of puts us back to that swimming pool thing I was talking about. High maintenance landscaping. Now, we all want to have beautiful landscaping. It needs to be cut, it needs to be manicured, it needs to look professional. Most buyers want to be able to color in the lines. You've designed something beautiful. You've put in edging. You've done the beautiful work of getting the layout right. They want to color in the lines and keeping it maintained. But most people don't want to get with the finicky kind of things to have to maintain that take a lot of work to maintain. Using trees, using grasses, using vegetation that is native to Tennessee to keep it more likely alive on a regular basis continually is definitely going to make a big difference in what your landscape looks like, to the time that it takes to keep it maintained, the money that it takes to keep it maintained, and also in reselling. I've had several people who looked at a home after a gardener, and you could tell they were basically a master gardener. They could have been the gardener over at Cheekwood Botanical Arts Center, and they put in gorgeous landscaping, and it was totally overwhelming to my buyers. They thought, I don't want to destroy this, but I have no knowledge of how to take care of it, and I don't want to. I don't want to spend my life outdoors being a gardener. So overwhelmingly beautiful, elaborate, if it makes you happy, absolutely do it. It's your home. But if you're thinking anytime in the next several years of selling it, and or you don't want to be a slave to your backyard or your front yard, or you don't want to have a constant yard service coming and cleaning. And I don't mean just cutting the grass. I mean doing the seeding, the overseeding, the fertilizing, the pruning, the tweaking, all of that on a regular basis, taking out the fall bulb, putting in the fall bulbs, doing the things that you have to do to constantly turn over. And there are many people who love that. And there are services here. I can help you with that. They'll come every 2 weeks and do exactly what you need. But if you don't want to have that done, then you don't want to buy some property that's needing that kind of maintenance. And if you own it, buyers are often a little afraid of it because it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and nobody wants to ruin a beautiful picture. They'll let somebody else ruin it. Between Nashville's very hot, humid summers and pretty unpredictable weather, you're going to spend a lot more time, effort, and money than you might expect on keeping that picture-perfect yard. Okay, let's talk about number 11 and flooring choices. For buying a new home, many people like to change out the flooring, which can be extremely expensive. And of course, you want to do that before your furniture comes in. I get it. One of the key pieces that you need to remember when you're doing your flooring is to try to keep it as homogeneous throughout the entire home as possible. To have a room switch from flooring to flooring to flooring is really disjointed. It doesn't look good, and especially if you have a open concept kind of design and you can look from room to room and see different flooring choices, it's not good. So you want to keep your flooring as close to the same as possible throughout the house. Now, I'm going to tell you, here in Nashville, hardwood floors wins hands down, head to toe, no question about it. Most people do not want carpet. Nobody wants carpet in their bathrooms. Please, let's get rid of that. But I do find that if people come from up north, they kind of like carpet in a lot of places because, of course, it's warm. Bringing to a new region, what you had in your old region often causes a whole lot of regrets, which is why I suggest you do this. Live in your home for a while, at least 6 months. Talk to many people. Remember what you saw in the homes that you looked at, how much you saw of, was it hardwood floors? Was it a LVP, the laminate flooring, luxury vinyl plank? Was it a lot of carpet? How did it make you feel when you walked into somebody else's carpet? Remember what the feeling was when you walked into each one of those and see which one felt more luxurious, which felt more opulent, when the floors changed a whole lot or when they were all the same. Tile is very difficult to remove if you don't like it. It's hard on people's feet. Most people do not want tile floor in their kitchen any longer here in this area because, again, it's hard on your hips, it's hard on your back. We're all getting older. It's not that easy to keep clean because of the grout lines. So talk to your realtor for their recommendations if you seriously are considering changing out the floor in your new home here. I will certainly suggest do not go with the grays. Gray was a hot color for a long time, but a gray floor, wood doesn't come in gray. It just doesn't. Even ash is not a gray color. Try to keep things as natural looking as possible, even if it's not natural. Even if it is the luxury vinyl plank flooring, I really suggest don't go with the gray hues. It's going to be out as fast as it came in, and I think you're trying to look for timeless, you're trying to look for luxurious. I'm finding that people who went for all the grays are now regretting it when it comes to flooring especially. That's too hard to change. Don't regret it. Number 12 regret is that open shelving throughout the kitchen, where it looks beautiful in Pinterest. There's so many things that look so good on Instagram and Pinterest, but in real life, talk to anybody who has them, who actually does cook, who actually does clean, who actually does dust, who actually does care how clean their dishes are. They're going to tell you, don't do it. Please don't do it. So yes, they look beautiful, but the problems I just mentioned, you're going to get dust, you're going to get cooking grease, you're going to get just awful looking things. Now, maybe you want one or two for accents, for the pretty pieces that maybe was your mother's beautiful china or whatever. The beautiful pieces that you want displayed, but nobody wants to see all your Tupperware, especially without all the lids that match. And it's just, things need to be kept behind doors if they're not great looking that you want people to see all the time. Or maybe the glass doors with the old wavy glass so you can't see it. But those open shelving, yes, it's beautiful in the pictures. Maybe you want one or two on either side of your sink with some of the pretty things to look at. But as far as getting rid of all your upper cabinets and just doing open shelving, I know 0 people who don't regret having done that after they did it. And it's very expensive to then go buy new cabinetry and close it all down. Hey, remember, this is the time for me to remind you, if you are considering a move to the Nashville, Tennessee area, then you need to reach out to me. Go ahead, reach out to me. Let's have a 30-minute chat to find out what it is you want in a neighborhood, what you want in a community. Let's talk about your work life. Let's talk about your family life. Let's talk about your dreams for your new community. Let me help you figure out the best places for that, your budget, help you get pre-approved, find out for certainty what you can afford. Let's iron out some of these kinks even before you start looking at homes here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. And the easiest way to do that is to check out that. That will give you straight access to my calendar. You can get on it and we can have a 30-minute chat. And number 2, if you're thinking of moving to the Nashville area but your home isn't sold yet, you need to grab that Prep for Profit guide that I mentioned earlier. Here you go. Grab that Prep for Profit guide, take a look at it, give it to your realtor, see what they think, just to make sure. California home sales want something different than New Jersey home sales, and they all want something different in their homes than here in the Nashville area, which is why I'm so wary. I've had 2 people in the last 2 weeks ask me whether they should put down new carpet in their basement that's a daylight basement, or whether they should put down the luxury vinyl plank floors, or whether they should. There are lots of options of what you should do. Here in the Nashville area, I know exactly what my market wants. But where they're coming from, I don't know what their market wants. So if you need a realtor in your area, I have access to great realtors throughout the country. I can help lead you that direction too. Anyway, grab that Prep for Profit guide, and I think you'll be off to a good start. Lucky number 13 is converting a bedroom to a closet. Now, one of the things that we're finding here in the Nashville area, if it's not a brand new home, if it's a home that was built in the 70s, 80s, maybe even 90s, most do not have the big glamorous closets that an awful lot of home buyers want right now. One thing they're thinking about doing is maybe next to the primary bathroom or primary bedroom is a smaller bedroom. And many people are considering opening up that smaller bedroom to being her glorious walk-in closet. Maybe his is on the other side, hers is on that bedroom side. That bedroom becomes a glorious walk-in closet. Okay, do it. However, don't do it with so many built-ins that it can never become anything else but that walk-in closet. Do it such that it's easy enough to take down for someone to put it back to become maybe that fifth bedroom. There are very few 5-bedroom houses in Nashville. There are very, very few 5-bedroom houses in Nashville under a certain price point, and that price point is under $1 million. Very few 5-bedroom houses. So if you happen to have one of those 5-bedroom houses, even 4 bedrooms, and you make it always and forever and ever and ever be a primary bedroom second closet, then you may have taken out a lot of the value of that bedroom for your potential new buyers. Again, back to talking to the realtor who is native to your area, who knows exactly what most buyers want and would keep your home being the most profitable, and you won't regret a change. So I want to thank my friend Jackie Baker for giving me the ideas. Jackie is a great realtor in the New Jersey area. I want to thank her for giving me the idea of doing this video because now you've got it. My home buyer regrets on the things they've done to their new homes once they moved here to the Nashville, Tennessee area. It may be some of your regrets, and it certainly is something to think about if you're moving here to the Nashville area. From losing a bedroom to building a swimming pool to high-end smart technology. All the things. Should you do them? Should you not do them? What kind of things have you done to your home that you might have regretted or wish you had done and regret that you didn't do it? I'd love to hear. Meanwhile, I look forward to talking to you soon.